Hi everyone, we are going to discuss week 7 that is coming up. Looking forward to this. There's some great topics covered. This really marks a transition from the self-discovery section of the course, 1 through 6, moving more into let's get out there and let's talk to people who do work that we want to do. So networking, informational interviewing, prototyping your career are the themes of week 7. So we really hope that students are ready at this point. They've built enough awareness of what they're interested in, the fields they want to pursue and learn about, and they're ready to go find someone to talk to. So this lesson will give them the skills, the information, the tools, the questions to ask. It's all here. So it's a fun lesson. There's a lot of ways that they engage with each other. So I'll walk you through some of the resources for this week. As was seen in previous weeks, they are reading. In week 7, they're reading chapter 7, so that worked out very nicely. And so chapter 7 will be what they're reading, and those activities in the back of the chapter is what they'll be responding to. Theme of chapter 7 is when you find your calling, work will be blissful. Work and trials, that work is not always going to be this blissful, fun, exciting experience. There are some drudgeries built into work. And so there's some great conversations that can happen in class as you review that and as you see reflections of students from the activities they have to choose from. So that's what they'll be reading coming into the class. And they'll be prepared for that discussion. So in the Navigator, there's also a networking activity handout. This is not a super required handout, but it does have the informational interviewing questions on it for them to start looking at. It also has a place to write, here's the 3 areas that I'm trying to find out more about, which is a part of the lesson, and to write down any names of people they network with in class. So it's a tool. You could do the same thing on a blank paper if you guide students to just write down, here's the 3 areas I want to explore, and then as they network with the class, use that instead. So you can provide this, you can have them print it, but it's not as essential as some of our other handouts have been. A big important part to be aware of going into class is the informational interview project instructions. So let's just take a minute to review that. So this project starts as of this week, week 7. The report will be in week 12. So week 12 in class, the entire class is pretty much giving the report of your informational interview that you've done. While that's loading up, here we go. There's some steps that are listed out with some videos from the Career Center on informational interviewing, which are really helpful. How to find a person, we give some ideas. Start with who you know and ask who they know. That's what the networking activity in class will be about. They can ask their professors. They can look at their type focused results and say, okay, this is a profession that's recommended. I should find someone who does that. The alumni resources on LinkedIn are also great. BYUI Connect, connecting with alumni another way, in the alumni directory. Career Center has put together these resources for accessing that. It's also a plug for academic societies. Connecting up with other students who might already know professionals is a great way to build your network as well. There's some samples for how to request an interview in writing. You could also call and set up appointments. So it has a video on reaching out, how to prepare for curiosity, part of the video that you'll watch in class. What questions do you ask? So we've provided a list of questions and we encourage them to pick the 10 questions they're most interested in. There's more than 10 here. So this gives them an opportunity to customize their interview to the things they want to know the most. Then there's how to conduct an informational interview, how to follow up after and provide a thank you. So a lot of great resources from our Career Center. Some of this activity is adapted from the ISU Life Planning course as well. And when they come to class on day 12, week 12, this is the format of how that will be. So the instruction sheet has how to do the full experience and what the report will be like in class. So it's only a 5 to 7 minute report. And they share what they learned for the first half of the presentation. And then the other students in their group ask them questions to draw out more for the second half of the presentation. So it's nothing that requires a whole lot of preparation. If you've done an informational interview, you will be set up for that presentation. So there's a lot there. That's what they'll be looking at after class. So a lot of the instructions, if there's some of it that doesn't go perfectly in class, the handout and the instruction is going to provide a lot more of that. So you don't have to spend a whole lot of time on it in class. It's in the resources, but showing them the resource and how the resource would be valuable is an important part. So let's get back into the navigator here. Journal 7 is something new as well. It is another assessment. So as we go to this journal, there's a tool called True Motivate. This tool is based on the student going in and writing a story of a most fulfilling, most motivating time that they can remember, and then evaluating that experience through 27 different motivators. So they're able to determine through this, they repeat that 3 times, they write 3 different stories, evaluate it based on the motivations, and at the end it will tell them these are the top 5 motivators for you. So I have a copy of my results there. It would be great for you to take this as well, but excel, explore, demonstrate learning, mastery, experiencing the ideal. Those were the 5 out of the 27 that came up for me the strongest. And I've read through these. It's all stuff that's it was very helpful for me to understand these. And at the bottom of the page, it does have a connection to career. It does offer industries and some specific occupations that match those motivations. For me, education, community, social service, the counseling, teaching, being in education definitely was a match. So I felt really good about this assessment when I took it, and we're excited to have students take it. This fall of 2023 is the first time that we're having students take True Motivate as a journal in the course. So next, the week after week 8, it'd be great to ask some of what their experience was with that. So that's what the journal will be going out of week 7. Okay. So let's jump out of the navigator and back into teaching resources. There's a lot of things here for you. Teaching notes. The outline and the PowerPoint are available, and we'll look through the slides in just a minute. There are 3 videos in the outline this week. One is about networking reframe, how to ask people for help and it doesn't feel awkward. So there's a great, fun, engaging little video here. It's also short. So the networking piece would be before the networking party in class. The informational interview would be after the networking party. So these 2 videos are core, and they come from Stanford's Life Design. There's also a video. It's a little bit longer of a video. I think it's around 8-9 minutes. And this one, if your class ends up short, this is a great one to use for time. It's also one that you could share in an announcement after class if you don't get to it in class. So know that this one is optional and that you can use it in class if needed, or share it after class if you'd like. Let's take a look at the slides. for week 7. So prototyping is a word that in the outline and here in the slides, we've given some resources for how to describe what is prototyping and why are we using that word for seeing what other people do in their career to find out if I would like it by knowing about their experience. So prototype is a term that comes from design. And just going back here real quick, you got your Zookeeper Secret Review. That chapter deals with finding passion in your work. There's a optional clip as well on dirty jobs. So Mike Rowe talks a lot about don't follow your passion, but bring it with you. And that's in the book. So this where is passion part helps people deal with what are the more unpleasant parts of work, the not so blissful things, as chapter 7 discusses. When you dive into the prototyping, there's some great description here. When designers are creating a product, they are doing a lot of let's test it out, let's prototype, let's build a model, let's not do the full thing, but let's create kind of what that would be like. So prototype comes to represent seeing what other people are doing in their career to see if it would fit for you. So prototype conversations are those opportunities to talk to someone who does what you would want to do. Prototype experiences would be, I'm going to try that out. Like I'm going to try to have some experiences like what that person does to see if I like it as well. So both are prototype. They're not the full version, but it's an opportunity to explore how that fits. A good prototype should be cheap, quick, and easy. So we're not building this prototype for years and seeing how this prototype goes, but it's let's quickly find out if this is a fit. Sometimes just by walking into a certain work environment, people can get that feeling of like, okay, that experience was positive or negative. By talking to someone, a short conversation, 20 minutes, shorter than that even sometimes, you can get a feel for how that person feels about their work. I think it's good to survey a broad range of people in a profession. So it's not just, okay, I got that person's opinion of what that work is like, but I got a good sample where I can make a judgment of it. So prototyping is that term. In the outline, there is an activity of building spaghetti towers. And building spaghetti towers is an activity that if you do it successfully, requires some prototyping. So that's why that is there. You can use that. It does require buying some spaghetti and some marshmallows, a few small supplies. And so that we do have some of those too. So if that's something you want to do, we may have some of that to share. And that is another way to bring prototyping in an experience into, okay, now we're going to prototype our career through networking and informational interviewing. The networking reframe would be right before we do a networking party. And the networking party is described in the outline. And there's a video from Stanford's Life Design Lab right here. So this is not for showing in class, but it's so you can see what this networking party looks like. And you can describe and explain how it works. As a lead in to the networking party, it's great to get students to think about what are my 3 plans. My choice 1, this is my current plan, my plan A. My option 2 is if I didn't have that, I would do this other thing. This is my backup. And option 3 is what would you do regardless of money, the laughter of others? What's your wild card plan? So having these 3 plans gives them something of, I'm looking for someone in this area. Do you know someone or someone who might know someone in that? After the networking party, which takes about 10 to 15 minutes, there's an informational interview instructional video, and then a review of how that assignment works, pointing them to the resource in Canvas, and that the small group presentation will be in week 12, as well as the summary report in journal 12. So that's an overall summary of what we have in week 7, sorry, and excited for you to take it on and enjoy it with your